Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. My name is James Liu, originally from China, so that's why I'm very interested in the China market and seeing how it developed. Came to the United States after my college. Then I had my PhD, I did my MBA, I did my postdoc in the US, basically all my education here in the US, and then transition to management consulting. And then in 2018, I worked with my own English teacher online English teacher. At that time, she was complaining about dropping the rates is dropping and not getting students, so I helped them. And then I realized what I actually can help teachers, help others. So that's why I started a business in 2019 to help more teachers get students, charge higher rates. We help them monetize their knowledge, develop digital products, not just Chinese market, but also outside of China. That's all from me. Now I'll just pass it to Katie. Hi, Katie. Thanks for waiting.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much, James, for inviting me to collaborate on today's webinar. I am so excited to see so many people joining us today. So my name's Katie. Most people probably know me as the director of Abridge Academy, which sells teaching resources and training and things for online teachers. But I've actually been an online teacher for over 10 years now. I'm a qualified teacher here in the UK, but I also lived, taught, and studied in China before. So I've got a lot of connections and experience in this market. I actually did a micro MBA some years back with Shanghai Jiao Tong University, had a bit of sort of marketing training and sort of China-specific insights from that to share. And back in 2020, I co-founded an online ESL startup program based in mainland China, supporting primarily Chinese students, along with our team of tutors in the UK. I also currently focus on selling teaching materials through Abridge Academy, Abridge Academy curriculum. I know we've got some curriculum members I saw in the chat earlier. I also sell online courses, particularly focusing on teaching skills and marketing and stuff like that. And I do one-on-one classes and small group teaching for my own students as well. So hopefully that's given me quite a broad range of different experiences in terms of the sort of online education market, particularly within the Chinese sort of side of things. And I'm really excited to share some insights into that today in terms of particularly things about Xiaohongshu specifically, but also in terms of China more generally, and opportunities for online teachers and educators and people who are interested in the online education space more generally.
So what we're gonna do is Katie gonna start leading the part of webinar first, and she's the best, she's the expert with RedNote, Xiaohongshu, Little Red Book, whatever you call it. So she's gonna do a very quick overview of RedNote, what has changed, what happened to it, why it suddenly become so popular, right? And the different monetization strategies, opportunities, restrictions about RedNote, and she's gonna share a course with you for free, okay, at the end of the session. So definitely stay to the end of the session. You can receive that course, the bootcamp course from her. After Katie, probably like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes into the webinar, I will spend another 20 minutes try to expand beyond RedNote, beyond Xiaohongshu, what else, what other opportunities in China, what other platforms are available, what's the opportunities, what are the restrictions, and what are people doing in the China market. Try to kind of bring you up, to see the whole overview, like the overall Chinese market for foreign teachers. Okay, that's the my part, and then we're gonna leave 10 minutes at least for a quick Q&A and to answer some questions at the end. Okay, and now I'll just give back to Katie. Hello.
Great, thank you so much, James. So I want to jump straight in and tell you guys a bit more about Xiaohongshu. Xiaohongshu is essentially a visual microblogging and social e-commerce platform. Essentially, it's a mixture of Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok to some extent, but also kind of combined with e-commerce features with a focus on selling products and services. It's grown massively over the last few years. I was actually looking at some of my slides when I was preparing for today's session, looking at some of my slides that I prepared for the first workshop I did on Xiaohongshu, which would have been in maybe 2021. And at the time, there was 100 million monthly active users. That's now tripled to 300 million. In fact, 312 million, I think the latest statistics were showing. So there's been a big growth in this app over the past few years. It's got a really big focus on sort of community building and real life recommendations. So if anyone out there is sort of more of a brand or a larger tutoring organization, for example, I would say that Xiaohongshu is more focused on individual experiences. instead of being a brand-focused platform. Brands do advertise a lot on Xiaohongshu, and I'll talk a bit more about the strategies for marketing and things later on. But in terms of what people go to Xiaohongshu for, the average everyday user goes to Xiaohongshu to connect with real people, to get real insights and recommendations. And in that sense, it kind of reminds me of Instagram, if that makes sense. And in general, I'd say that the main focus of the content that people create is on sharing value and on being educational and to a certain extent sort of entertainment as well, because it's a social media app and that's what people go to have a bit of fun as well. In terms of what kind of content you can post, as I mentioned, it is a bit like a cross between Instagram, Pinterest, and a little bit of TikTok. So you can create image posts or carousel posts, pretty much exactly the same as how it works on Instagram. They have text posts. I can talk a bit more about this later in terms of new exciting features that have been released recently, but this essentially is an image post, but where it gets created within the platform using text that you've put in yourself. You can use polls, which are very helpful for getting insights into what your audience is particularly interested in. Here are a few quick examples of things I've done, asking what kind of content they'd like me to post about next, or what they think, what their opinions are on a controversial topic or something like that. And of course, video content. Video content is absolutely booming on Xiaohongshu at the moment. It is a platform where you can experiment with a range of content. It doesn't just have to be videos. It's not like TikTok in that sense. But I would say that kind of, particularly the short form video content, is really growing at the moment. So there's a lot of potential there. And in terms of who you can reach, I'll dig into some of the demographic information a little bit more in a moment. But as a very broad overview from the point of view of someone running education business or offering online tutoring services or something like that, here are some broad categories of people you may be able to reach through Xiaohongshu. So if you spot your target market here, Xiaohongshu is the place to go. Obviously, there would be a lot of university students. They're very active on social media in general, and Xiaohongshu is a particularly popular app, particularly among overseas Chinese users. So a lot of international students from China use Xiaohongshu to post about their overseas study experiences and to connect with people who might be offering support services to help them with things like academic writing skills and the like. Also, early career professionals. Again, a lot of young adults use social media, very large proportion of the market, and the same on Xiaohongshu. So if you're offering, say, business English services, interview coaching, job application support, all kinds of stuff like that, this kind of market can definitely be found on the app. I mentioned international students, but there's also a large base of international sort of overseas Chinese users. So like families who've moved overseas with their whole family and they've relocated permanently overseas or for a short time. And they're often looking for educational like classes or resources for their kids or for themselves. So again, a big market on Xiaohongshu. And finally, young mothers. When we dig into some demographic information, you'll see why I've highlighted this category in particular. But there are a lot of young mums on Xiaohongshu, and they post a lot about their kids, and they love to share what they've been up to, kind of raising their family and their experiences. And they also love to connect with people, offering things like beginners English classes, phonics, English immersion programs, and the like. So there's a lot of potential here, and I feel like probably the majority of online education companies and online tutors will be able to find some kind of market here on Xiaohongshu. It has a lot of potential. Before I jump into a few more details though, James did mention in our kind of warm up earlier that we have a lot of free resources to share with you guys today. And I'm going to put some links in the chat for these, and don't worry, I'll also share them again in a moment. But do check these out if they will be useful for you. So the first thing I've got is a free Chinese social media guide, which is really helpful if you're just getting started and you want to get a bit of an overview of the Chinese market, and also a useful Facebook group if you've got any questions or you want to kind of chat to other online teachers to learn more about how you can promote your services in China. It's a great place to join. And then the really big one, that's probably the most popular, is my free Xiaohongshu bootcamp, which kind of guides you step by step through getting started on Xiaohongshu. It's essentially the great place to start if you want to figure out who your target market is and how to connect with them, design your overall social media marketing funnel using Xiaohongshu, how to set up and optimize your account, plan your posting strategy, all that kind of basic stuff to get you started. Okay, mini sales pitch of the freebies over. Okay, now I know one of the things we mentioned, sorry, I'm jumping ahead a bit myself here, but I know one of the things we mentioned, and I know a lot of people are interested in hearing about today, are some of the key changes that have happened on Xiaohongshu over the past few years. As I mentioned, it's grown very rapidly, and it's not just grown within China, but it's also starting to expand internationally, and that's resulted in a lot of changes to the platform. which is very exciting, but also brings up a lot of things that are really important to be aware of as well. So I want to talk particularly about that in today's session, because I feel like most of the people, at least from my audience, are already familiar with some of the basics that we kind of touched on already. But essentially, some of the key changes that have happened, there's been a big shift in terms of the user base and who's actually on Xiaohongshu, and changing content preferences and what kind of content they engage best with. There are also lots of new and exciting features that have been released or opened up to a more international market. But there are also, and I know a lot of teachers have been hit with this, stricter moderation and blacklisting kind of policies that have come into place, which are very, very important to be aware of, and make sure you don't break any rules on Xiaohongshu, because it can result in your account being restricted and all kinds of issues that you don't want to happen. So I'm going to dig into these in a little bit more detail. So the first thing that you might want to think about is who is on Xiaohongshu. I gave you those examples of key categories already earlier on, but if we actually dig into the demographic information as to what we mean by these categories of people, you'll notice that there have been some changes over the past few years as to who is active on the platform. And I would say, by the way, this is not necessarily that the groups that have gone down have decreased. It's more that they've started to expand more into other markets, if that makes sense. So, for example, Xiaohongshu used to be incredibly focused on women, because they originally started out focusing on the kind of fashion, beauty, that side of things. They used to have almost 90% of users being female. That's now reduced down to around 70%. That's still a huge proportion of the market who are young women, but it does adjust kind of who you could reach, perhaps. And that's more due to expansion than it is less people using the app. It's like more male audiences are using the app, and therefore it's grown in that sense. But you also notice that with the age, it's shifted a little bit, but it primarily still reaches young people aged around 18 to 30 years old, which I mentioned before, young mothers, that kind of audience. You'll probably immediately spot that they'll fit within these kind of demographic categories. And then if we look at the city type, this is probably where some of the biggest changes have happened. And I think this highlights a really exciting opportunity for anyone offering online education services. And that's that over the years, Xiaohongshu has shifted from being pretty much entirely focused on tier 1 and tier 2 cities to having a much greater reach across China. To explain what we mean by tier 1 and tier 2 cities, tier 1 cities are like the big name, top sort of wealthier cities in China, more international ones: Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, these kind of really big financial central cities. Now, the great thing about those cities is that people have a very high spending power on average, but they do also have quite good access to English learning opportunities locally. So while it is a big market, it doesn't necessarily represent the best market if you're offering online classes. Whereas if you start targeting some of the lower tier cities, we're talking like tier 2, tier 3, those kind of cities, they still have a very good spending power. And when I lived in China, I lived in a tier 3 city, and I wouldn't say it was a poor city at all. Like, it was still a very well-developed city, and people there have, a lot of interest in expanding internationally. But they don't necessarily have so much access to local English learning opportunities because these cities are less international. And therefore, there's a much higher demand for online educational services in these locations, particularly in terms of the international side of things, whether you're offering online English classes or you're offering online subject classes that relate to international curriculum, or you're helping people who want to study abroad or grow their businesses internationally. Those kind of markets. It's really exciting to see that Xiaohongshu is really growing into a wider range of different cities and allowing you to reach a wider audience there. Now, I couldn't get really clear data on this, but one thing I have also noticed a lot is there's been a more global expansion on Xiaohongshu too. It was very difficult to pin down exact numbers. It was approximately something maybe around 15%, but could be as low as 5%, depending on where you look. But anyway, the numbers are showing there is some kind of increase in terms of the international user base on Xiaohongshu. This is primarily around the sort of Asian market more generally, but there's also a lot of what I mentioned before, our overseas Chinese families, this kind of expansion, people who originated from China, they've moved abroad, who are using the app. And then in the past few months in particular, it started to reach a completely new audience. They're often referred to as these TikTok refugees. You might have seen a lot of this in the news recently, but people who used to use apps like TikTok, who are now moving across to Xiaohongshu to try it out as an alternative due to some restrictions and things that have been taking place in the US. So yeah, the exact data on the international expansion on Xiaohongshu has been difficult to pin down, but it's definitely very exciting. It relates to a lot of more opportunities as well. I actually was teaching in Japan for a while a few years back, and I noticed that Xiaohongshu was also quite popular in the Japanese market too. And I also have seen a lot of people from Malaysia, Singapore, and sort of East Asia more generally also on the app. So there is a lot of potential there, even outside of the kind of core Chinese market. Okay, enough rambling about the demographics. Hopefully that gives you an idea of there being a big potential on this app if you're an online teacher or you're offering online educational services of some kind. Another key shift that's happened over the past few years are some changes in terms of the content preferences. Now, I mentioned that this app is very similar to Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok. The kind of content you can create is similar to those you can create on other kind of platforms. And actually, it's interesting to note that some of the changing content preferences are also kind of similar to changes we've seen on apps like YouTube, for example. So yeah, I would say in particular, there's being a big shift towards video content, and particularly the short form video content. At the moment, you get around 2.4 times more reach with videos than you do with image posts, which is quite exciting to see. And some of the other content formats they've kind of experimented with, like Hey Posts, which are a bit like Instagram stories, they seem to have basically decided to give up on these now because the reach was absolutely terrible. The engagement was pretty bad, and it's no longer available for new users. They can't, yeah. So there's definitely some shifts in terms of the kind of content that you can even access or that is being pushed. But video content right now is huge. There is also, I would say, been a stronger shift towards the sort of entertainment and educational types of content. So creating content that's generally valuable and exciting and interesting for your audience is really key. Previously, I would say there was more what you might call product reviews or people posting, outfit of the day, these kind of posts. There's been more of a shift, I would say, towards the general entertainment and educational side instead. And then the final big shift I'm noticing is that there's been more of a shift towards algorithm-driven recommendations rather than search. If you go back sort of 5 years or so, people used to think of Xiaohongshu as a search platform as much as it was a social media app. People would go there to search for a specific brand or product they're interested in, and then look at reviews and look at posts that people are creating featuring those brands. Going back to what we said about Xiaohongshu being this sort of social e-commerce platform, people went there basically to search for reviews. That's what it kind of originally started out as an app. Now that's changed a lot now. People don't really see it as an app for going for product reviews. I mean, it still has that potential, but more and more people are using it as an app, not just to search for specific things, but also just to enjoy browsing more generally. So now the sort of number of people using it just for search, like when they open the app, the first thing they want to do is go search, has reduced down to around 60%, which means that then people relying on the browse feature, the recommended posts, looking at short videos, that side of things, which is very algorithm focused, has been increasing. This means that for you as someone using Xiaohongshu to promote your services and products, you need to be really aware of how the algorithm works and how to get your content showing to the right people. There's a lot more than that. I mentioned the bootcamp earlier. That free bootcamp really tells you a lot of information about the algorithm and some top tips and strategies and things. So do check that out if you want some more details on that. But essentially, engagement is going to be absolutely critical. You want to make sure that people are engaging, they're liking, they're commenting, they're sharing, they're collecting, which is a kind of save feature, your posts and your content. And also, it's worth checking out some of the newer features on Xiaohongshu, such as hashtag challenges and seasonal activities and promotions and things that they run, which helps kind of get your post seen by a wider audience as well. So yeah, be aware that there is a little bit of a shift more towards the algorithm-driven side of things, away from search. Okay, so I mentioned that it's worth getting familiar with some of the new features on Xiaohongshu. One of the new features that's kind of been, I think it was released actually around 2 years ago. I say new, it's not really that new, but it's certainly been expanding, becoming more popular, is group chats. So group chats is really exciting because you can then engage and really nurture your community within a messaging system within the app. So it's a bit like on Instagram, you can have, there's chats built in. It's not like the main focus of the platform, but there's a chat section. Same here on Xiaohongshu. There's actually the ability as well to join public groups. So if you go on your app to the group square section, you can actually search for groups on specific topics related to your niche, related to what kind of services and products and things you offer to connect with your audience. So you can actually search, it recommends some to you specifically, or you can, search specifically and join some. Don't spam these groups. Don't be an annoying person like that because you'll just get yourself reported. But it's a great way to connect with people and offer value in a group. And more excitingly, you can also create your own group and then nurture your own community. This can be a great place not just to share your latest posts and things, but to ask questions, to engage with your audience, to answer their questions. And that's a whole bunch of cool features you can do within the group chat section. Even creating those sequences of posts and sort of almost like how some Facebook groups have got the, what's it called? Learning section or whatever, you can kind of pin posts and organize them. It's got a sort of feature like that within the group chat as well. You can add hashtags to messages in the group chat so that people can find them again more easily, all kinds of useful things. There's a really rather, I'm not sure if the AI thing is good or just irritating, but there's a kind of AI bot thing. There's group polls and things you can run. And it's a great way to get that engagement without even having to leave the Xiaohongshu app. Previously, I would say that most people, oh yeah, Facebook guides. Yeah, that's what I meant. Thank you, Sam. Yeah, Facebook guides, that kind of ability to kind of structure and organize posts in a Facebook group. It's kind of got something a bit like that in the group chat, but it's more of a chat than a group. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, in the past, I would recommend that people would take people from Xiaohongshu, take your leads from there onto an app like WeChat, where you can set up a nurture group, and then on WeChat, you'd have these kind of messaging, this kind of communication and community. And the exciting thing is that now you can actually do that within Xiaohongshu itself. And you can actually connect these group chats to any of your posts and content that you create. So, if you create a video or something, or even say at the bottom, like join the group and then link to that group, and directly encouraging people to join your group chat from any of your content that they see. So there's a lot of potential there to really bring your audience in and connect with them on a kind of closer level. Another really exciting new feature that was released much more recently, I think probably 3 months or so ago, was the ability to create text posts. And I briefly mentioned this earlier, but essentially you write a bit of text. Often it's something like a question, something like that. It even automatically translates it into Chinese for you. And then you select which template you would like, and it puts like cute emojis or it highlights some of the text and things like that. And it takes literally like 1 minute to create a post, and then you can post it and people can respond. And actually these text posts, despite the fact they're very low effort to create, get pretty good engagement and can be a great way to sort of connect with people without having to spend ages filming videos and that kind of thing. So this is quite a new thing that's worth trying out, and because it's a new feature, they're also really pushing this kind of content right now to kind of get more engagement. So it's worth having a look at this, and it's very easy to create. So try it out, see how it goes. And another really key new feature I want to highlight, and this is more just from the kind of point of view of, yay, this is awesome, why didn't they do this ages ago, is the translation tools. Anyone who's using Xiaohongshu would have probably noticed that over the past few months, they launched a translation feature, which means that any posts that people make or any comments, you can just click translate and it'll translate it into English for you, which saves a lot of effort. If you're someone who doesn't read Chinese, and I know probably most online teachers don't, this saves a lot of stress trying to translate stuff because you no longer have to jump back and forth with Google Translate or anything like that. It's not available yet for some parts of the app, like messages or image comments, and it doesn't seem to be available for any other languages except Chinese to English yet, but maybe this will come soon, who knows. And I put here, no need to post in Chinese anymore. I think this is a big question, and this is something that I'm still kind of digging into to try and find a bit more data and insights into this, because when it comes to search, I think it's helpful if your post content is in Chinese, because they'll be searching in Chinese for things to show up. But then at the same time, in terms of being authentic and in terms of being able to create your post content more quickly and easily, you could create things in English and people can just click translate and it would translate it for them. So there's a bit of a question mark, I think, on this comment, but it's worth experimenting and seeing if your engagement metrics change much when you post in English versus when you post in Chinese, because they now have the ability to translate it if they need. And also a small note, some of the other settings and things have also been put into English now, which is a lot easier. So if you're setting up and optimizing your profile, if you look at some of the videos in the Xiaohongshu bootcamp, some of the older videos, they might show having to dig through some of the settings that were in Chinese. Most of that's now in English, which makes it 10 times easier. Even for those of us who speak Chinese, it takes me ages sometimes reading out like technical words or something in Chinese. Now all of it's in English, which is a lot easier. Okay, right. Moving swiftly on. So that was a few of the key updates and exciting new features that have been released on the app. I also want to talk a bit more about marketing though. How can you actually make money on Xiaohongshu? Most online teachers are probably using the first point on my list. I really should have broken this up into millions of separate slides. I realized it's about 1 million words on one screen. Apologies. Most people though, if you're promoting your online classes, you're probably doing the first point, subtly promoting your online website or contact details through your posts. So you might create a post and you're sort of talking about top tips for learning English. And your last sort of top tip will be, if you want online classes, reach out to me, something like that. Ideally a bit more subtle, but you get the idea. So by being present and by sharing value and occasionally hinting at what you've been doing recently with your students, it kind of encourages people to be aware that you're an online teacher and they could reach out to you, that kind of thing. Now, this, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to talk a bit more in a moment about some of the changes that Xiaohongshu has been implementing in terms of restrictions and things on the app. This is getting more and more difficult to do this subtly so that you don't get caught out by some of the restrictions, because they actually don't really like commercial content being done in this way. How can you get around those restrictions while still actually being successful at promoting? It can be a bit of a challenge. There is some more on that in the bootcamp. We talk a lot about it in the Facebook group. It's a very common point of discussion. And if anyone's got any questions on that, just let me know. But I just want to talk about a few other ways you can promote your services and products on Xiaohongshu, particularly if you are maybe a small company, a tutoring agency, or you're offering other educational services, not just online tutoring. Some of these are also available for individual teachers, some are not. We can dig into some more details another time if you've got more questions on it. But as a very rough overview, you can do things like opening a store within Xiaohongshu. So Xiaohongshu being this sort of combination of social media and e-commerce, you can create a shop within the app itself, a bit like how I think TikTok's got shops. Instagram's even got a basic kind of shopping feature. But Xiaohongshu has got this shopping feature built into the app. You can sell physical or digital products. And the great thing about having a Xiaohongshu store is that it's linked directly to your profile, and you're allowed to promote it because you're literally paying Xiaohongshu to have this shop, right? So they're very happy to help you promote your products and services through your own Xiaohongshu store. You can link it to your posts, pin it onto your profile, like a section of your profile. If you do live streams, this is a bit complicated if you're not Chinese, but there is some ability if you have a company, a registered company, to be able to register and do live streams. Then you can promote your products on live stream. Apparently, I think it was 90% of products are sold through live streaming on the app. It's quite a big feature. And also they occasionally run promotional events and things where you can sort of promote your products from your Xiaohongshu store on their own kind of events and things, promotional things they're organizing. Like they might do a big kind of festival of shopping or something, and lots of different brands can promote their products at the same time. And they do take a small sales commission. That's why they offer this service, so they can actually monetize their own app. But actually, I think it's pretty fair. And a strategy I know a lot of organizations do is they will sell something relatively cheaply on Xiaohongshu. We're talking like lead magnet style kind of approach. You're selling it for like 1 RMB or 10 RMB, something that's only $1 or $2 maybe. And people buy that, what should really be a kind of freebie, in order to then get access to things like your contact details and other things you've included in that digital resource, and then reach out to you about follow-on services. So there are ways of using a Xiaohongshu store to promote other things that can't necessarily be directly sold through the store. Okay, another strategy that a lot of small companies are using and is really expanding, and actually individuals can do this too, is paid advertising on Xiaohongshu. The reason I'm mentioning this today is because it's also available to individual users, not just brands. So the Xiutiao, this one, is basically the ability to boost a post. And you see this, for example, on Facebook. If anyone here's got like a Facebook business page, you see that button that pops up and they're trying to encourage you to boost the post, and you pay like $10 and they promote it, right? Exactly the same kind of idea on Xiaohongshu. And you can boost some of your posts, and it just uses their normal algorithm, but just pushes it to more people. That is available not just to company accounts, but also to individual accounts. And then they also have a paid advertisement platform that requires you to be registered as a business on Xiaohongshu, and it's a bit more complicated, costs a bit more money. But if you're selling like things on a larger scale, or like maybe you've got a tutoring agency, or you're selling like loads of online courses and things, there's a lot of potential with this platform because you can actually direct people to your own website, or you can direct people to reach out and contact you more directly. But it is more expensive, so probably not that exciting for most online teachers. And then the final thing, and this has got a lot of potential both for individuals and brands, is KOC and KOL marketing. KOC stands for Key Opinion Customer. KOL is Key Opinion Leader. These are just terms that get used in the Chinese market for influencers, basically small scale or large scale influencer. And with these are basically anyone who's got anywhere between 1,000 to 5,000 followers, you consider KOC. They are able to post authentic content about their own experiences using particular products and services. Then if they've got a larger number of followers, we're going to say 10,000 or more followers, then you can consider them a KOL, a key opinion leader. They might not necessarily be direct customers of yours, but they have the ability to promote and share your products with more paid kind of advertising. But essentially, it's an opportunity to do sort of gifting to micro-influencers. And this makes it sound fancy, but honestly, let's imagine you've got some students, okay, and they happen to have a Xiaohongshu account because their parents like posting stuff online. A lot of people do. And you can say to them, well, I'll give you a free class if you'll post something about my classes on Xiaohongshu and help promote my services. And you could do that through, say, affiliate deal. Share this discount with your audience, and if it brings in any new students, I'll give you a free class, or I'll give you some extra bonus or something like that. So this doesn't have to be a fancy strategy just for big brands. This can also be something that individual teachers can try out and use even with your own connections and your own students. And if you do want to scale things up, you can also do things like sponsored posts through Xiaohongshu's built-in KOL platform, the Douyin platform. The Dandelion platform is an ability to connect with influencers. I'm actually already on the Dandelion platform. You only need to have 1,000 followers to be able to register there. So if you've got a Xiaohongshu account, you can actually monetize it by promoting other businesses' products and services. Or if you are the business, you can then connect with influencers to promote through this platform. And there are also some external ones as well, but be a bit wary of some of those because of the restrictions and regulations on them. Sorry, that was a long ramble, but hopefully that gives you a few ideas of different ways that you can advertise, whether you're a small organization or you're an individual teacher, or you're a larger sort of tutoring agency or someone who's scaling up their business. A lot of potential and different ways. Okay, just before we wrap things up, I want to give you a few quick warnings though, because I know everyone's getting really excited here, which is very exciting to see. But I see a few teachers who get maybe too keen to jump into things too quickly and unfortunately get their account restricted due to breaking some of the rules. Do have a look at the terms and conditions and stuff when you sign up, like just check what the policies are. Here are a few key things to be aware of that can result in issues on your account. Firstly, do not share external links, QR codes, that kind of thing. It can be very tempting to say, check out my website, sign up for classes today, scan my QR code, connect with me on WeChat or whatever. That will get your post blocked. And if you do it multiple times, it could get your account restricted or even banned. So be very careful. It's just against their policies to share directly external links. There are subtle ways around this. We talk about this a lot, I think, in the Facebook group. It comes out probably on a weekly basis, I swear. But just be very careful when you talk about external contact ways of connecting with you. Similarly, don't post directly commercial content. This is not allowed unless you have a business account. So this is things like sale, 50% off, sign up today, or buy my classes now, that kind of thing. Not only does it do badly in the algorithm anyway, because honestly, who's going to engage well with that kind of content? But also it's against the policies. There are also a few other things that just kind of common sense really on Chinese social media. They don't like fake likes and follows and comment and you could win a prize, that kind of nonsense. Anything politically sensitive, bit of a risky thing in China, just avoid it. Similarly, all this stuff that's illegal, just don't do it. And don't post things that's copyright. I sometimes see some teachers resharing videos they've like stolen off YouTube, like a fun song or something, and then they'll post it on their own personal Xiaohongshu account. They're really cracking down on things like that. Just don't do it. It's not yours, don't share it. Okay. Enough policing. So just to kind of summarize, I think we can see that Xiaohongshu is an app that's full of opportunity, there's a lot of potential, particularly great reach within key target markets for online education companies. Loads of opportunities to promote your products and services, whether it's organically or through paid advertising and all the different features that are available there. Great new features that are expanding massively internationally, loads of potential, but do be aware of the increasing competition and some of the restrictions and things that are coming out. So you do need to have a bit more of a strategy in place. Okay, I feel like I kind of rushed through some of those things. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Just a reminder of the links in the chat to check out the free bootcamp and other resources and valuable things for everyone. I'm just going to share them again in the chat just in case anyone missed those earlier. But okay, that was very quick. James, should I pass over to you, or should we do some questions and things and then do, or do you want to do questions at the end?
All right, so a lot of questions in the Q&A section. If you want, just type in, answer some of them, and if there are difficult ones, we can leave to the end.
Perfect. Okay.
So a lot of information, and if this is new for you, it's gonna take some time for you to understand and follow, and join Katie's Facebook group. There's a lot of information. about this platform. Okay, so now let's move on to the next part. Okay, all right. Um, so beyond RedNote, so we already talked about RedNote and Xiaohongshu. There's a lot of information. Now I want to talk about the China market overall and what other opportunities, what other places people are actually marketing the business and the services or getting students and selling their teaching services. Okay, so three places I want to quickly comment on: WeChat, Bilibili, and Douyin. So these are three very popular platform for teachers, for foreign teachers to get some business in China. So WeChat, some of you guys already mentioned WeChat. So if you don't know about WeChat, it's a everything app. So I think everyone I know in China has a WeChat account. Okay, that's just a fact, and it's very popular in China. It's an app has everything: social network, messaging, content, payments, almost everything. Okay, the difference between WeChat and the RedNote, Xiaohongshu, the biggest difference, okay, is that WeChat is not for you to look for, it's not majorly for you to build your audience and look for more new students. It's more for contain community closing, managing your students. Okay, so you don't use Xiaohongshu only. So the best way to get your students to sell services is use Xiaohongshu and WeChat. Use RedNote and WeChat together. Okay, so there's you need to connect it to. I think those Katie has training about this. So the biggest difference, because WeChat is a closed network. Okay, when you post things, people who are not your friends wouldn't see it. So it's not gonna grow your network. That's important. So WeChat, if you only use WeChat, you're not gonna be able to get many new students by posting, by using WeChat. That's the biggest difference. But WeChat has highest, I guess, highest percentage of users in China. So some features that can help teachers if you are on WeChat at the moment, that's more like social media space to post groups. There are WeChat groups. That's I think the most popular feature. You have your own groups and up to 500 people. I'm probably in hundreds of groups. That's very common. Channel that's similar to like Instagram Reels or TikTok, where you post these short form videos. So it's not available for everyone. Even you have WeChat account, it does not mean you will have channels available on your WeChat. Okay, official accounts, that's your page where you can post the newsletters, feeds, and blogs. That's WeChat. Some restrictions. So I believe technically everyone can register for a WeChat accounts, but you do need help to help you uh, verify. You need a verification process with someone who registered their WeChat with a Chinese phone number, usually the people in China, to help you verify your WeChat account. Okay, so technically everyone can have WeChat account, but you need help to verify that. Okay, that's WeChat. So Bilibili, that's a very popular platform. So it's very similar to YouTube. They call it YouTube of China. Okay, that's a place people post long form videos, just like a YouTube, and you can do live streaming. It's similar to YouTube as well. So this Bilibili, some highlights with the Bilibili. So you can host live stream. No, you can even host live Q&As or mini classes to your followers on Bilibili. And the audience is quite young. 80% is Gen Z. And no, if you are a teacher who teach exam preparation, study abroad, this type of thing, you can get a big following on Bilibili. And premium content and course section. So on Bilibili, you can also sell paid video courses, and you can even receive tips from viewers, very similar to YouTube. Again, you can tip your followers can tip you right on Bilibili, so you can actually monetize directly on Bilibili. So some restrictions, technically everyone should be able to register account on Bilibili with a phone number outside of China, mainland China is fine. Then if you have a QQ or WeChat, other Weibo accounts, you can probably create a Bilibili account already. But it does need real name verification. You need your ID, passports, personal photo, holding ID. So it does have the process to verify your identity. Okay, that's a Bilibili. The last one is Douyin. Douyin is quite popular. over 700 million daily active users. You can imagine that, how popular it is. My mom probably spend like 5 hours at least every day on on Douyin. That's the only thing she uses right now. It's a very popular platform. If you're on TikTok, very similar. And Douyin is original version of TikTok, so they are still like kind of under same companies of different separate, but it's very similar to TikTok. Okay. So some highlights of Douyin. Your videos can go viral if you hit the right notes. I've seen a lot of foreign teachers, they have hundreds of thousands followers on Douyin. Okay, so you can go viral if you're really good at making videos and you're good at this live streaming feature. You can live stream and you can actually sell things. So they have this e-commerce feature. You can sell during the live stream. Okay, live streaming, but there's a restriction for foreigners to do live streaming. Okay, a lot of restrictions about that. Course setting. So a good thing about Douyin, it has stores, a little bit like very similar to Xiaohongshu, like RedNote. People click on your profile, they actually can see your store. They can already buy courses. Okay, we have a client doing that. It's very convenient for you to monetize your account on Douyin. So restrictions. So technically, if you are not Chinese, you don't have a Chinese ID card, you are not able to have an account on Douyin. But there are workarounds. There are workarounds, but technically that's the policy. You need to have either Chinese ID or Hong Kong, medical travel permit or foreign permanent resident permit. Okay, so in order to get into Douyin, but there are workarounds. Okay, there are workarounds. So these are platforms. High potential with high potential but restrictions. Okay, I think comparing to these platforms, RedNote is easier one. That's why there's so many foreigners on RedNote. But these are also good places, okay, for foreign teachers to get students and monetize their knowledge and sell services. So very quickly, a few more slides about the service and product opportunities. I think Katie already mentioned mostly teachers come into the Chinese market, they're thinking about tutoring, teaching, finding one-on-one students, group students. So there are actually other opportunities like in-person training. As a foreign teacher, you can actually do in-person training. Now, if you can set it up, right? You can have memberships, you can have digital courses, you can also sell teaching materials. So very quickly, just to highlight some of these. I had an interview with our client Lian, so I can share this thing with you. That was almost 2 years ago. So Lian is doing one-on-one group teaching in China, and she's actually growing so much already in the past 2 years, and now she's working with us again on teaching materials, other things. So Lian and Gary, one of our clients, we worked together last year. So he is a Canadian-born Chinese, so he doesn't have a citizen card, but we managed to work with him to offer digital courses and memberships in China. So James been working with us for some time now. James offers digital courses and memberships, and we're actually preparing an in-person training in Shenzhen this year with him. So I just wanted to help you guys understand there are so many more opportunities besides one-on-one. If you're ambitious, about the Chinese market, there are many other opportunities that allow you to really monetize your teaching experience expertise in China. So about these pre-recorded courses, I know this might not be something you're familiar with. So in China, we have Katie already talked about Xiaohongshu store. There are other places you can sell these courses. People can buy and purchase. That's kind of very popular now. Just pre-record courses, and Douyin has its own like classroom features for that. Tencent has that. RedNote has that, and Xiaohongshu is something that people use a lot to sell courses on WeChat. And WeChat has other programs. So just want to tell you, this is growing very, very much. If you are thinking about having courses and selling courses in China, it has become more feasible than ever. Okay. So teaching materials, that's another big thing. We're working with a few teachers right now to sell their teaching materials in the China market directly. Okay. So it has been very popular. So these parents are looking for high quality teaching materials. They want to uh, purchase. Okay, and there are platforms to do that, such as Taobao and PinDuoDuo. These are places where you can directly sell your teaching materials to the Chinese parents or even Chinese English teachers, right? Chinese teachers who will purchase these materials from you. So that's all. And just want to let you guys know. I know China market is a good market, but there are so many restrictions, and you will need help. Okay, you will need help if you really want to get a lot of success in China. Katie is the person to reach out to. RedNote, the training, a lot of training. If you need our help, we are helping teachers, foreign teachers in the Chinese market with account setup management. So we help our clients operate their social media platform accounts, RedNote, Douyin, Bilibili, WeChat, Taobao, PinDuoDuo. We help you set up and manage them. We also help our clients with the marketing social media, help you promote your services on these Chinese social media platforms. And localization, translation. We do a lot of translation, video editing, caption, and creating materials in Chinese, high quality materials. We do that too. Sales representative. We also partner with foreign teachers to promote their services, sell their teaching material for them, and courses in China on Douyin, on PinDuoDuo. We are doing that too. Okay, let us help you if you need some help. You are more ambitious of a Chinese market. Okay, so my gift for you guys, because you are here today, I want to offer 10 spots for this Chinese market discovery call with me. So I clean up 10 spots next week. So if you are interested in this Chinese market, you need help. I believe you need some help, and you want to talk to me, talk about your ideas, what you want to do, and see if there are opportunities for us to collaborate. Feel free to book this discovery call. I'm gonna share this link with you. You can book one. I can only take 10 spots. Okay. So I think that's it. I'm gonna share the show up bonuses as well. So this link gonna include all the links we shared today, and I will add Katie's slides to this link as well. Okay, I'll add Katie's slides with this on this document as well. So that's all. I hope this is kind of enough for you guys to understand. That's a lot of information. I apologize if we are overwhelming you, but it's recorded. The session is recorded. You have all the slides. All right, and you have a free course from Katie. Join her group and join our group, and also book a call if you want to speak with me about your opportunity in China, if you want to work with us at some point. Okay, that's all from me. Katie, anything you want to add?
I feel like that is everything from my end. Except, yeah, check out all of the resources. Thank you so much, James, for all of those great insights. And do check out everything that Bowei Strategy's got available to offer, because some amazing resources and advice from the whole Bowei team on how to, particularly things like memberships. I think you've got something coming up soon on memberships and digital products and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
Lots of exciting things there. Should we jump into some of the questions? I've been trying to respond to some of the questions that just typing answers where they were quite short ones,
please.
But cool. Someone had a question here about the algorithm, which was like this. Mariska said, my biggest question is about the Redbook algorithm and finding students feel it's changed, and their videos have gone down from around 200 views to about 30 or so. What's happening? I just want to say that the algorithm is kind of complicated, but to very briefly give you an overview, and there's much more detail in the bootcamp, by the way. When you first start creating content, your first few posts, they'll often get around 200 to 300 views, and that is Xiaohongshu giving brand new accounts a bit of a boost, because they're going to try out your content with a range of random people to get an idea of who might engage with it, because then that helps them as an app decide, okay, your content is suitable for this audience, and then starts recommending you to them going forward. So you may find with a brand new account you get a bit more reach initially, and then it seems to drop, but in reality that initial reach was not necessarily in your target audience. It was Xiaohongshu as an app just trying to test things out and give you a bit of a confidence boost. So if you feel like your content went down after a few months like that, that could just be why. Don't worry about it. There's nothing you can do. Do not close your account, set up a new one or something like that, because that's the whole palaver and you'll go back to square one again. If your content is now only getting around 30 views, that tells me that at the moment the algorithm doesn't like it. There could be a whole bunch of reasons why that is. It's hard to say much without really seeing the content, but it could be that it's considered too promotional and you've been directly mentioning your classes or something. It could be that you've mentioned certain keywords that get flagged. I think there's a link in the bootcamp. If not, send me a message and I can send you a link to, there's I think it's called Linker or something. There's a website that scans for banned keywords, and you can just check that before you post things. It could also be that your audience doesn't like what you're creating, so you've got the wrong people following you. So when Xiaohongshu tests your post on them, they don't like it, so then the algorithm doesn't show it to more people. There's a whole bunch of complicated stuff on that, but check out the bootcamp for more information about the algorithm, what content does well. I hope that gives a bit of an idea. Shall I jump to the next question? This is also by Mariska. Mariska was asking about teaching groups. I think she meant like searching for group chats. My personal recommendation on the group chats thing is it's worth browsing and joining a few group chats, but don't spam them. Don't randomly add and connect with people without kind of being a genuine, authentic member of the group first. And join groups that are actually genuinely related to your interests to get an idea as to how groups work before you start creating your own and before you start trying to sell in a group, if that makes sense. Do not jump into a group that's called something like English Study Group and then immediately join and say, join my classes, buy now, because that will just get you banned from the entire app or something if someone reports you. So I would join groups that relate to your actual genuine, authentic interests, or that are very specific to your niche in your area, but where you wouldn't be competing with the person who owns the group, because probably the person who set up the group is trying to promote their own products and services. So just be very wary of stepping on someone's toes. Again, it's another topic we could dig into in a whole detailed webinar if we wanted to, but yeah. There's a whole bunch of other questions. I know, James, you've got any questions you wanted to pick up on?
I'm just looking through them. So about payments, okay. There are workarounds, and Katie has a lot of suggestions. I think YouTube video even, right? I mean, Katie, if you want, you can share your YouTube channel. So there's so many free videos. I don't know why you give them all for free, Katie. I don't understand, but there are so many videos for free. Just give you like step-by-step instructions to do that. And also there are all-in-one solutions as well, like the platform to take care of your payment. So don't worry about it. If you're already getting students, you worry about payments, reach out to Katie, she's gonna help you. If you haven't even entered China market, don't even worry about it, okay? There are workarounds. So I think one thing about Chinese market is you just need to know if others are doing it, I can do it too. There must be a way to do it. That's all you need to know, okay? Don't get yourself so stressed out, okay? With all these questions you don't know, that's a very foreign place for you to be. But if you are committed to make it work, there are solutions, and you can always reach out to Katie, you can reach out to me, I'm gonna help you.
Absolutely, yeah. I've put a link in the chat to the video I made about Stripe and Super Teacher, which is like an all-in-one platform. And I also mentioned a website called Airwallex. Airwallex is a bit like Wise. If anyone's familiar with Wise, used to be TransferWise, allows you to create virtual bank accounts in different currencies. That's a popular one as well for accepting payments from China, but they've started charging a fee as of a few months ago. So I'm personally trying to move away from it because I feel like $25 a month is a bit excessive. But there are options. It's the main thing.
Okay, so one question from Sam about getting students on RedNote, how can they pay? So we already talked about payments, but the thing is you have to understand, you don't get students on RedNote. They're very restrictive. You're not gonna promote anything, okay? So what it works is you get awareness, you build your audience following on RedNote. You have to get them to WeChat. That's where you close them. That's where you talk about payment, all the other things, because WeChat allows you to do that, right? It's not like you get somebody say, oh, how much, then you send them a payment link or whatever. That's not how you do it, how it does on RedNote, okay, on Xiaohongshu.
Yeah, I've just noticed as well, there's another question here about, it's just, business license. If you open a store on Xiaohongshu, do you need to show a business license? There's two different, I think two different types of store on Xiaohongshu. There's like a personal one or a business one. You can open a personal one if you're Chinese and you have a Chinese ID card, which I'm guessing most people here do not have. You can open a business one if you have a registered business. That could be in the UK, sorry, in the US or the UK. I'm in the UK, that's why I said UK. It could be like abroad, it could be in China, it could be anywhere, it doesn't matter. But you do need a business license, and then you need a registered someone in China who like vouches for your business and acts as the representative, the Chinese representative. That sounds complicated. It's really not that complicated to set up. But essentially you just follow their instructions, you upload proof of your business details. Like here in the UK, my company's registered with Companies House, which is the government registration of companies, right? And you just upload proof of that. So it's possible to do if you've got a registered business. If you don't have a registered business, it's not going to be an option, sorry. In terms of payments through a Xiaohongshu store, you can get paid via Alipay or I think with the options. But again, it's a bit more complicated. My suggestion would be to work with your Chinese representative on the payment side. It's probably not be that relevant to most online teachers though. So
no. And oftentimes it's going to require a Chinese bank account, okay? So that's very common in China. So Katie, I have to hop out for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I have another call. I just need to let them know that I'll be late. So are you okay to stay a little bit longer here?
Yeah, sure. We'll have a party without you.
All right, I'll be back. I'll message you if I'll be
Yeah.
back soon. Okay.
Oh, that's exciting. Party time, guys. Just me. Is this where we start selling stuff without James knowing I'm here? Anyway, so I'm going to just go through some more of the questions. And if you've got any more questions, by the way, the chat is going crazy. Thank you so much, everyone. But if you've got any questions that are in the chat, can you put them in the Q&A bit? Because I can only really see the Q&A in an organized way because the chat is too many people. So Margaret asked a question saying, how do you target tier 2 or tier 3 cities? So essentially, when I say tier 2, tier 3 cities, those are basically slightly smaller cities. They're still massive. If you go to China and go to one of these cities, you're thinking, how on earth are they categorizing this as tier 2 or tier 3? That'd be massive, great cities the size of like London or something. But they are just basically the ones that aren't the big, well-known Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. Those are the tier 1 cities in China. So they're just very slightly smaller, slightly less internationally known kind of cities. In terms of how to target them, first you can create content that directly links to that city. So it could be that let's say you're targeting international school students who are studying at an international school but within China, or they're studying at a bilingual school in China. That's quite a large number of people actually study at these bilingual schools, and it's a big target market. You could, for example, compare what are the top 5 bilingual schools in Hangzhou. I'm assuming there's probably quite a lot of international schools there. So you can have a post that's comparing things that relate to that specific city that also relates to your niche, if say you're targeting that international school or that bilingual school kind of market. And so you could create content that relates to that specific city. You can also tag locations in your post. So when you create a post, you can tag like this post was in Beijing or something. So rather than saying this post was in Beijing, you say this post was in Kunming, or this post was in Harbin, which is where I lived before. And again, it depends on what content you're creating as to whether that's relevant or not. But you can try strategies like that for targeting those cities. Also, in terms of who you personally engage with on the app, I would always recommend you don't just sort of create content and then disappear. You also want to spend a lot of time yourself on the app, browsing other people's content, engaging in their comments, sort of interacting and building a bit of a network on there, and just build a network by searching for people in those specific cities. So do a bit of research online as to which target cities you might want to look into, and then you can see look for posts that are tagging that specific city, for example, and then you start connecting with people. Don't just spam, like, and comment, but I mean connecting with them in an authentic way and commenting in a sort of valuable, positive way with that particular audience can be a way to connect with them. But also, I'll just say that if this sounds a bit complicated, don't worry too much about it. The algorithm will naturally start to recommend your content for people who engage best with it. So try not to overthink it if it does seem too complicated. And if you're just starting out, this is like nothing to worry about when you're first starting out. Next question, Margaret asked, how do you get onto these other accounts, Dandelion, etc.? Okay, so the Dandelion platform is the KOL influencer kind of platform, which is run by Xiaohongshu. Once you reach 1,000 followers, you get sent an invite within the app. It'll pop up and it'll, like, one of the sort of system messages or something will pop up saying you've been invited to start making money on Xiaohongshu or something like that. This message will come up. It will be in Chinese, so just keep an eye out for these Chinese messages and see what they say. Half of them are random, irrelevant nonsense, but every now and then an important message like this pops up. So you'll get invited to join the Dandelion platform. I'm trying to remember what process was involved. I just seem to remember it was quite straightforward. I just had to put in a bit more information about me. I had to do my ID verification. So as in, some people don't feel comfortable doing that. So if you don't want to do that, then that's going to restrict your access to that platform. So I had to verify my ID because that's to access monetization options. And then what I get now is every now and then when I look at my app, I'll get notifications. I can even show you guys if you're interested. Notifications of brands that want to reach out and connect with me, right? So it will be in my messages and I can see, where's it gone? I don't look at this very much because I find them kind of irritating most of the time. But I'll find it in my system messages, and there's also a section of the app that specifically focuses on the Dandelion platform. Yeah, here we go. So on the app, you guys see this? It's all blurry. Anyway, so I can see all of these. Hang on, let me just turn off that screen blur. It's annoying, isn't it? Okay. So within the app, these are all the brands that have reached out to me in the last few days saying they want to partner with me. And I'm going to be honest, most of them, they kind of message anyone who fits within the broad profile. So most of these aren't actually that relevant to me and my audience. So I'm not really that interested in working with them. But these brands, they reach out to influencers through the Dandelion platform, and you see the information about it and say, okay, this one here is a AI learning app. if I wanted to work with this AI learning app to recommend them to my audience, I could click confirm or something, and then they message with you. Sometimes there's a little application form you fill out, that kind of thing. And then they pay you for creating sponsored post content. So that's from the influencer side. The other part of the Dandelion platform is from the brand side, so the company side. So to access the company side, you need to have created a company account on Xiaohongshu, which means you've done your business registration, that kind of thing. And then it's basically the other way around. You can search for lists of influencers, and you can sort of target specific categories. You can sort of filter your search or whatever. You put together a sort of pitch as to what kind of content you want them to create, and then you send it to them. And then if they're interested, they'll reach out to you and you connect and you discuss that partnership. I'll be honest with you, though, I would say the Dandelion platform is probably overcomplicated for most online teachers. It's more something that bigger brands would do. If you're just an individual teacher, I would recommend just working with your existing current students or existing current network and asking them to do sponsored content or to promote you. And in fact, it doesn't even have to be that sponsored. If they like you as a teacher, they're probably going to be willing to share and post about you and your teaching for free, or just for like an affiliate kind of arrangement, or if their friend signs up, you give them a free class, some kind of arrangement like that as well. So yeah, sorry, I know that kind of went off topic. You asked specifically about the Dandelion platform, so I gave you some details on that, but I would say also don't worry too much about the details of it. If you don't have access yet, it's not the end of the world. It's not that useful to most online teachers. Okay, next question. Mariska's saying, when using hashtags, the best way to find hashtags that can attract people. I've been using AI and I've been following other people, but not sure if the hashtag should all be in Chinese or both Chinese and English. So I'm going to be honest, the importance of hashtags has been reducing over the years. So I personally wouldn't worry too much about hashtags in terms of specifics. There is a strategy of picking sort of longer tail kind of keywords and hashtags, like not just the really short, like English learning as a hashtag, because that's kind of too competitive. You want ones that are not too competitive, that have not got too much volume of content you're competing with. There's a whole kind of strategy behind that. Honestly, I reckon it probably contributes about 5% of success towards your post, though. Like, I really don't think hashtags are that important. The main benefit of hashtag is that people can click on it to find other posts that are using the same hashtag. So you can sometimes get people who've clicked through from a different post that's using the same hashtag, and then they might find your post in that way. So I personally don't overthink it too much. I would pick hashtags that are relevant to that specific post. So you don't want to just use the same hashtags all the time. You should be picking some that relate to that specific post. To give the example I said earlier about, say, comparing the top 5 bilingual schools in Hangzhou. Okay, you would tag something like bilingual school Hangzhou, and you probably tag each of the individual schools that you mentioned as an example, because that's specific to that particular post. That's what I would do with the hashtags. Think of them more as keywords that you want to be particularly highlighted as being relevant to that specific post. In terms of whether it should be in Chinese or English, if your target audience is Chinese, they're probably going to be searching in Chinese and clicking on hashtags and things in Chinese, so you want to do the hashtags in Chinese. That would be my recommendation in terms of the language aspect. Also, another thing, by the way, if you see other people's posts and you see some of their hashtags, you like that hashtag, you can save the hashtag for future reference, and then you can use it more easily yourself in future posts. Okay. Right, next question. Margaret asked, what about YouTube links? Can you share those? No. Right, next question. Sorry, no external links, nothing at all. If you've got a YouTube video, repost the actual video itself. If it's your video, post it on your own Xiaohongshu directly. You can't share links. Kimon is asking, can you explicitly share contact details with interested clients via private messaging that's been cracked down on? Yeah, this is one of the things that they've really been cracking down on. In the past, you could. You wouldn't. In the past, they didn't allow you to share it publicly in your public posts, but they did allow you to share it in private messages. Now they don't allow it even in private messages at all. There are some strategies around this. It gets discussed a lot in the Facebook group, and it's constantly changing because they're constantly tracking down on different methods that people are using to get around the policies. One of the ways that's worked the most for me is that I've made sure that my ID on Xiaohongshu matches my WeChat ID, because usually my clients reach out to me by WeChat afterwards. So if my WeChat ID is the same as my Xiaohongshu ID, it's very easy for them to search for the same ID on the other platform to connect with me without having to ask for my contact details. Also, when I create posts, I put my WeChat ID on the image of the post. If it's like a graphic, like a Canva graphic or something, I'll put, like people put copyright or something in the bottom, like a little watermark. Rather than saying copyright, I'll just put my WeChat ID in the corner. I won't say the word WeChat. I won't make it obvious it's an ID, but just from the fact that it's basically my name and a few numbers, it's kind of obviously an ID, and people are like, oh, what's that random ID written there? Let me go search it up on WeChat, and then they find me. So it works like that when it comes to platforms that people are very familiar with, like WeChat. Something I've been able to do recently is I've been able to add my email address in my profile bio, but I've heard other people who've not had success with that. So I think it's a bit of a whether you're lucky or not. And it might also be the fact that I've got a Xiaohongshu Pro account now, because I had over, once you reach 1,000 followers, you get invited to upgrade to a Pro account, which is just give you advanced analytics and stuff. And I think that's also reduced some of the restrictions that I had previously. So you might be able to get away with things like an email address. They don't seem to be flagging those quite as much as the word WeChat or the word message or something. Anyway, I'm rambling. The point is, it's constantly changing. You have to experiment with different methods of doing it and be very, very careful. There's a constantly discussion on this going on in the Facebook group that I shared earlier. So do check that out if you want to discuss which strategies are working this week. Okay. Kim was also asked what's about targeting tier 3 cities. I think I kind of answered that earlier. About tagging, like creating content that's relevant to a specific city, tagging the city, engaging with users who are living in that city, but also don't worry too much about it because the algorithm will just show your content generally to your target audience as long as it's content that would be interesting to them. Right. Hang on, have a drink. I do apologize. I know I'm talking way too fast. I should slow down. Hopefully you guys can watch the recording if you need to catch up on anything I've said. Okay, Tracy's asking, what platform can you use to teach, e.g. Google Classroom, Zoom, etc.? Okay, so I'm assuming we're targeting Chinese students here because this webinar is all about China. Lots of teaching platforms don't work very well in China, particularly Google Classroom. Anything Google is blocked in China, so they just won't be able to access it at all. So Google Classroom is a definite no-no. You can use Zoom. Zoom has previously had some issues. I've heard that with a Zoom Pro account, it seems to work fine, but with a Zoom free account, it doesn't, things like that. I stopped using Zoom some years back because I haven't tested it recently, but it's an option that might work. One that's very similar to Zoom is called Voov, VOOV, or Tencent Meetings. It's the same name, it's a different name for the same app. Voov is basically a copy of Zoom, that's a Chinese copy of Zoom, and it's Chinese owned, so it works in China. And it's also free, which is quite nice. I mean, they now do have a paid plan, but the free version is actually good enough still for a lot of teachers, where Zoom free is kind of a bit useless nowadays because of the time limits and things. And what I personally use, though, because I'm teaching kids, I personally use Koala Go. If you have a look online, I have a discount code I can send you if you're interested for Koala Go. I highly recommend it. Koala Go works perfectly in China. It's super interactive. It's much more fun for teaching kids. It's designed for online teaching, unlike Zoom or Voov. You know, those are just conferencing platforms. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Koala Go. That's what I personally use. But yeah, there's lots of different teaching platforms you can use. There's free ones, there's paid ones. I guess if you let us know more details about what you teach and how you teach and who you teach, I might be able to recommend more specifics. But yeah, the main thing I'd recommend is just check whether it's blocked in China or not, because things like Google Meet is blocked, for example. And other platforms like Skype used to be kind of popular, but that's kind of closing down now. So you check what's sort of going on with those sort of things. Okay. Margaret's comment is saying, Katie, how do I fill this in? It's all in Chinese. I'm assuming we're talking about the Xiaohongshu registration. In the settings, there should be the option to change at least the settings into English. If you're not sure where to find that, look in the bootcamp. There's a video that shows you how to change your profile, the app settings, the app interface into English. It's in the settings. It's kind of hard to find. And that will at least put the settings into English. People's content, though, will still appear to you in the language that they created it in. It's a bit like on Facebook. It doesn't automatically translate. I think Facebook does now, think about it. A lot of apps, they won't automatically translate the post. If someone's created something that's in Chinese, it will show in Chinese unless you manually click the translate button. So user-generated content will be in the language that they created it in. But the app interface you can change into English in the settings. The video tutorial on how to do that is in the bootcamp. Next question. Sorry, guys. If you've got more questions, put them in the Q&A. I'm really sorry I'm not following the chat very closely because it's kind of going crazy, but thank you everyone for engaging and all of your wonderful comments. Joanne's asking, is there still an age bias in China? So if I'm over 50, I'm too old. I'm very hesitant to answer this in much detail because honestly, I'm not Chinese. It's very hard for me to sort of say when sometimes it's a bit of a kind of mindset thing. I think in my experience, firstly, everyone's different, okay? Like some people unfortunately are going to be a bit ageist. That is the case, but that could be in a positive way or a negative way. Like they might not want young people, they want someone more experienced, for example. Like think about how you can use your age to your advantage and talk about all the experiences you've got in terms of teaching experiences or industry related experience or whatever's relevant to your niche. And ultimately, if they don't want you because you're old, not that 50 is that old, but anyway, if they don't want you because you're too old, then they're probably not your target customer anyway, because they're not valuing you for your actual expertise. They're kind of worrying too much about, I don't know, appearances or some nonsense, which is, they're not going to be your target audience because they're not going to be willing to pay you good rate for you as an expert. So yeah. The other thing I would say as well, that on Xiaohongshu, if you looked at the demographic information we looked at previously, the average user age is a lot younger, around sort of 18 to 35, that kind of age range. But that's not to say they won't value someone who's a bit older and more experienced, who can give them guidance and give them teaching using a lot more expertise than they've got. So yeah, think of age as being an advantage, not a disadvantage. And if anyone is saying, oh, you're so old, then they're not your target audience. Please ignore them. And 50 is not old. Marco said, can you email me the bootcamp link? I'm just going to put it again in the chat in case you missed it. Where's it gone? Where's my link? The bootcamp link is in the chat. And I think we'll email around afterwards as well with links, because everything got lost in the chat quite quickly. So he's saying, merci, Katie. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad this helped. Okay. Kimon says, can you share contact details? Oh, we answered that already. That's answered. Excellent. Next question. Targeting tiers. Oh, we did answer that already. I don't know why Zoom's doing some weird stuff right now. Okay. Isma's asking, any idea, are they able to pay via Alipay? I know it's used pretty often. I got there paid there for 2 years working through a Chinese school, and they take care of that. So how to get paid from China, I put the info in the chat earlier. I'm going to put it in the chat again while we're talking about this topic. To get paid from China, here are some links. I would recommend Stripe. Stripe integrates with Alipay, and it also integrates with WeChat Pay. Those are the two most popular payment methods in China, WeChat Pay and Alipay. People also do have cards using Union Pay. Here in the UK at least, probably Visa is the most popular, followed by MasterCard. In China, the main kind of cards, I don't know what word is card type, card issuer, whatever, is Union Pay. But that's still widely accepted by a lot of online card payment platforms. But if you use Stripe, it not only accepts Union Pay, but it also accepts WeChat Pay and Alipay, which very few platforms can. So I'd recommend Stripe as a payment platform if you are able to access it. It's not available in all countries though, so just check their policies. But you can't get paid directly by Alipay, and you also can't get paid directly by WeChat Pay, because if you set up your own account on Alipay, you can use it to buy stuff, but you can't withdraw any money from it onto a non-Chinese bank account. So you want to use a business payment platform like Stripe that integrates with WeChat Pay or that integrates with Alipay. You can't use them directly yourself. I'm not sure if that answered the question, hopefully. Okay, next question. Tracy asks, are you allowed to put your WeChat contact details on RedNote? Officially, no. The way to get around it is by making sure your WeChat ID is the same as your Xiaohongshu ID, because then whenever anyone asks you for your contact details, you can just share that, and then if Xiaohongshu can't flag it because you're not sharing your WeChat ID, you're sharing your Xiaohongshu ID. It's not your fault they happen to be the same. So yeah, officially you're not allowed to share your WeChat contact details. Unofficially, there are lots of ways around it, and everyone knows their ways around it. Like all of the other users on Xiaohongshu are also aware that you're not allowed to share WeChat details, so they're actively looking out for ways to get around it. If they want to connect with you, they will find a way to connect with you. Okay. Christina's asking kind of a similar question. Can we link to our own profile, our teaching platform profiles on our profile, or not at all? So if it's a link, then no. If it's a QR code, no. If it's an ID and you're mentioning like connect with me here, then no. They're very, very restrictive in terms of any direct calls to action to take someone off the platform. There are, however, a lot of unofficial ways around it. It depends what the link is that you're sharing, I guess. Mostly I'll say the main kind of funnel that people use is Xiaohongshu to WeChat, which is a messaging app a bit like WhatsApp, and then from WeChat to your teaching platform. Because people won't want to go directly to your teaching platform because they haven't bought classes from you yet. They haven't had that sort of sales conversation yet. So WeChat is where you have those sort of one-on-one conversations. That kind of actual sales process takes place on WeChat, and then from there on WeChat you can share links. It's no problem at all. So that's how you can then direct them to your teaching platform, or like where to sign up and buy classes and things. Oh, Christina then responded, oops, I meant my own website. So if you've got your own website, officially, you're not allowed to share external links or details. Unofficially, I have seen some posts that get through with links, where you, not in the text of the post, like the post description, but on the image of the post, where they've put the URL, like the website link, as text on the image. If it's not too long and complicated that people will be able to manually type out themselves, then you can put it kind of like a watermark on some of your images. You might even be able to get away with it if you're very lucky. You might even be able to get away with it in your bio. I've somehow been able to put my email address in my bio and it hasn't got blocked yet. But yeah, be careful. They're mostly cracking down on the word WeChat and anything related to messaging and WeChat, but technically they also don't like sharing websites. If you do the paid advertising, by the way, it's one of the reasons I mentioned that Shutiao option, the paid advertising option, even as an individual account. If you do paid promotions, you're more able to link to external sort of messaging or websites and things, depending on the setup you've done for the paid advert you're posting. So that can be something to check out as well. What was that? I was asking, Katie, do you offer private coaching? Thank you. I'm always happy to help teachers. I don't currently offer one-on-one coaching. It's something I'm considering. I know James offers it through Bowei Strategy. I would recommend joining the Facebook group and joining my email list. I'm hoping to have some kind of coaching program or something set up at some point in the future when I have more time. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm quite busy. I feel like it's interesting. I think a lot of teachers, I would love to help more teachers, but honestly, my main focus is on my own students and my business, Abridge Academy, and growing that. So it can be challenging to find the time. But yeah, I'm thinking of putting together some kind of group coaching program. And I do a lot of free webinars, free videos, and answer like messaging wise in our Facebook group a lot. So join the Facebook group if you want to learn more and get more support from me for free, which is always great. We love free stuff. And yeah, so thank you. Right, next question. Whew. Only 7 more left to go. Okay, come on, guys, we can do this. Margaret's asking, do you need a Chinese phone number to log in? No. You can use any phone number from anywhere around the world. If you go on their website, for some bizarre reason, on their website, the first sign-up page only accepts Chinese phone numbers, but there's a scan a QR code option to log in separately, which you anyway. I'm rambling. Don't try and create an account on the website. Go to the app first. Download the app. You can set it up on the app with a phone number from anywhere in the world, no problem. And then if you want to log in on the website version of Xiaohongshu, because they have a computer version as well, which is a lot easier sometimes for writing out long posts and things. And you just have to log in by scanning the QR code using your Xiaohongshu app. Again, I think there's more on that in the, actually I don't think it's in the free bootcamp. I've got a paid bootcamp that covers some stuff like the website version, but it's quite self-explanatory, to be honest. Anyway, yeah, you don't need a Chinese phone number. Don't worry. You do for some other apps, but not for Xiaohongshu. Ooh, next question. Kimon is saying, WeChat won't let me change my ID. I got an error message. Okay, yes. So I think this is mentioned in the bootcamp. Unfortunately, WeChat and Xiaohongshu only allows you to change your name, your ID, sorry, once, I want to say every 6 months. I can't remember. One was once every 6 months and one was once every year. I can't remember which one's which. But it's not, you can't keep changing it. So if you've already changed it recently, you might have to wait a while until you can change it again. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about this. That's just how these apps work. To stop people constantly changing their IDs and things. Yeah. Can I say, yeah, it's just a random bunch of numbers. That's the trouble. The default WeChat ID is a bunch of numbers. If it's still the default, so it should be WXID underscore and then like 10 numbers. That's the default WeChat ID. That you definitely want to change that because that can't be searched. So people can't actually search it and add you, and it's also too difficult for them to remember anyway. But the good news is that you haven't changed it yet, which means that you should be able to change it. If it's coming up with an error message, if the error message is in Chinese, take a screenshot, put the screenshot into Google Translate, and Google Translate will translate the error message for you. It probably says something like the ID is too long or contains a banned keyword or something like that, because there's some, you can't name yourself WeChat official or something as your WeChat ID, because that is misrepresenting you. Or they have a few banned words you can't include in your WeChat ID. And I've heard some teachers have issues if they include their name in their WeChat ID, which I find a bit bizarre because when I set up my WeChat account, they specifically told us you should include your name in your ID. That seems to have changed since. Anyway, I'm rambling. Just Google Translate what the error message is, and it will tell you what the problem is, and you should be able to change it, because it sounds like if your ID is just a random bunch of numbers, it sounds like you haven't actually changed it yet. So the issue isn't that you're trying to change it more often. The issue is probably some keyword that's in the ID. I suppose I talked about 100 miles an hour for that one. I hope that made sense. Let me know in the chat if it didn't make any sense, and I'll reply again. Christina says, I teach Chinese students in italki and would love to share the profile link in my bio. Unfortunately, kind of what we mentioned before, it's difficult to share links on Xiaohongshu. Personally, I wouldn't recommend directing anyone to italki anyway. If you're going to direct people to an external website, it should be a website that you own or that you're keeping all the money. Like italki takes a percentage of your earnings. If you want something that's like italki but doesn't take a high commission, then check out Superteacher because it allows you to create an italki style profile, but it's your personal one. It's not a marketplace. There's no risk of them going and searching for other teachers and connecting with someone else. And they take a much smaller commission, as in they don't take commission at all. It's you pay a small amount per month for it. Or on their free plan, they take a small amount of commission, but it's still less than italki. So I would check out Superteacher if you want an alternative to italki that's specifically not for marketing. Let me just find the link again. Superteacher, I'm going to put it in the chat. Superteacher allows you to create your own teacher kind of website, or not quite a full website, but like an italki style profile that works in a similar way to italki. You know, you have a calendar, or you can offer group classes, you can sell self-paced courses, digital products, all kinds of stuff within your profile. And it's either a fixed fee per month, or you can opt for paying, I think it's 10% commission now on the free plan. But it's cheaper than italki anyway. But anyway, going back to the actual question, my point was like, don't direct people to italki because italki is going to charge you the same commission as if they were someone who came through italki themselves. So they're charging you for their marketing that they didn't even do to get that student. And there's a risk on italki that they look at your profile and then they browse other teachers who are cheaper and then go elsewhere. So you don't want that. But going back to the actual question, you can't share the link in your bio to anything. You can hint at it sometimes. You have to be careful, but ideally you want to take people from Xiaohongshu to a messaging app like WeChat, and then from there you can send them any links you like and direct them to actually purchase classes. No one's going to go from Xiaohongshu directly to purchasing in that direction because they want to message, and you need to have that sales messaging with them first before you actually sell, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes some sense. Let me know in the chat if you've got any questions on that. Okay, next question. Is Moodle or Poodle LMS platform blocked in China? I'm pretty sure Moodle, I've never heard of Poodle. I don't know what that is, sorry. Moodle is not blocked. Moodle works fine. Isn't Moodle self-hosted anyway? I seem to remember it's one of these ones that's like, you can host it yourself or something. So, I mean, it's up to the individual website to be blocked or not. Like Moodle isn't actually its own thing. I'm not sure. I haven't actually used Moodle much, but anyway, it's not blocked. Most LMS platforms aren't blocked anyway. You'll have to check. There's a really good website. If you just Google blocked in China, I think the website's something like blockedincchina.com, or let me find it. Blocked in China. Oh, it's from Comparatech. I'm going to put it in the chat. This is a really useful website for blocked in China. Put it in the chat. This is a really useful website if you're not sure if something is blocked in China or not. Just go to that website, you put in the website address, and it'll tell you if the website is accessible within China or it isn't. So if you're ever not sure that the website you're trying to send people to is blocked or not, you can use that tool to check. But I'm pretty sure Moodle is fine because I'm sure Moodle is self-hosted. Maybe I'm getting mixed up with something else. But even if not, I'm pretty sure. I took classes for a while with a Chinese university online and they were using Moodle, so I'm pretty sure it's not blocked. He said, you've answered my question. Great, I've forgotten what the question was, but I'm glad that helped. Okay. I feel like I'm saying thanks for the tip. Cindy's saying open source. Oh, that's Moodle. Yeah, okay, great. Thanks for the info. I knew it was something like that. Okay, Cindy's saying thank you. Great. Beth's asking, can you use PayPal with WeChat? So PayPal is sort of semi-accessible in China, but it's really inconvenient for people to pay. It doesn't integrate with WeChat at all. So people cannot pay via WeChat on PayPal. PayPal only accepts people paying via their own PayPal account or via card payments. So it doesn't integrate with WeChat. It doesn't integrate with Alipay. So it's not the same as Stripe. Stripe's so much better than PayPal. Also, PayPal charges higher fees than Stripe, and they also seem to have really weird refund policies. And I don't know why anyone would want to use PayPal. But anyway, if you have to use PayPal, because let's say in your country you don't have access to platforms like Stripe, then Chinese parents can pay via PayPal. But it's going to be a bit of a pain for them. You might need to guide them through the process. They probably won't have their own PayPal account because it's not popular in China. So you have to guide them through the process of how to either set up their own PayPal account or how to pay by card on a PayPal invoice thing. It's doable. but it's not convenient. And also a lot of Chinese clients, particularly in tier 2 or lower cities, don't know how to use card payments online. I know this sounds really stupid for those of us who are used to card payments, but card payment is just not a popular payment method in China. They're so used to just scanning everything via QR codes on WeChat Pay and Alipay. So when you open a website, they're like, where's the QR code to scan with WeChat Pay? What's it asking for a card number for? What's a card number? What card are they talking about? Does my WeChat have a card? Like, I'm going to be over-exaggerating a bit here, but honestly, a lot of my Chinese clients have struggled to understand how to make a card payment online. And some Chinese banks don't allow international payments. They have some restrictions and things, so it's a pain. So if you're using PayPal, just be prepared. You may have to deal with a lot of like guiding them through the process to actually make the payment. It's doable. People do use it, but it's not convenient. Check out the other options I suggested as a sort of preferred option if you can. Cindy's asking which university used Moodle. So I'm pretty sure this is when I did a online, it was like a 1 semester program on teaching Chinese with East China Normal University, and that was using Moodle. And I've also taken online classes with Shanghai Jiao Tong University. I did my micro MBA with them, and they had an online platform. I can't remember if it was Moodle or a different system actually. Now I think about it, but we did have some kind of online platform for accessing, lecture recordings and stuff like that, all kinds of things. But yeah, it's used by a lot of universities. Moodle is quite well known, like internationally in general. Cindy sent a link to some kind of image, but it's on your local host. It's on your device, so I can't see it. Sorry, Cindy. I don't think Zoom is set to allow images. Apologies. If you had a question about something to do with what we've been talking about today, maybe post the image in the Facebook group, because I know you can post things on Facebook. Images work fine in the Facebook group, and then we can comment there. Sorry. Oh, Cindy's saying works in China. Okay, good. I think I was just checking that things worked in China. Excellent. Oh wow, guys, that was super intense. We just got through all of the questions that were in the Q&A. I'm gonna have a quick look at the chat now. Apologies, I have been ignoring the chat for the last half an hour, so I just see lots of thank you questions. If I've missed your question in the chat, which I probably have if you put it in the chat, just put it in the Q&A again. Do you know where the Q&A is? It's at the bottom of the page where it says Q&A. I'm going to have a quick scroll through the chat. I hope this was helpful for everyone. Do check out the links I sent before. Let me know if you want them again, for the free Xiaohongshu bootcamp, the Facebook group. Also, James sent his link earlier about booking a session and things with him. I'm not sure where James has disappeared to. Hopefully he comes back. He's not in the waiting room or something, is he? Do I think so? Hopefully not. No, can't see a waiting room. Okay, well, good. I'm starting to panic that I've just locked James out of his own meeting. He's probably on a call with someone by the sound of it. A few people asking about recordings. Yeah, you're going to get sent the recording, don't worry. I know I talked really, really fast, and I apologize for hogging the meeting from James. I feel a bit bad for that, but I'm glad this helped people, and if you want to rewatch stuff, you'll be sent the recording. Oh, Quenny put a chat here. Do we need to pay to post on RedNote? No, it's a social media app, a bit like Instagram or whatever. You can just post. If you're creating a business account and you want to do paid promotions, you can do paid adverts on RedNote. They appear as an advert, just as on Instagram or Facebook or any social media app. There are adverts that pop up, right? You can, if you're a business, pay to have advertisements put on the app. But if you're just an individual teacher wanting to promote your classes and sort of gently build an audience and so on, you're just going to post. You're going to create an individual user account and you're going to create posts for free. And post those on the app, and the algorithm will show it to people. That's it. So you don't need to pay. A few people commenting saying they get their clients through word of mouth. Excellent. Yeah, I would say honestly, WeChat is Xiaohongshu, WeChat. These social media apps are great for reaching a wider audience. But I'd also say there's a lot of power in word of mouth and referrals, recommendations for your current students. Apps like Xiaohongshu, do be prepared. I should probably have said this at the beginning. Be prepared. It takes a long time to build up. If you're starting from zero, you've got a long way of building up before you start getting paying students. It can take even a few months before you start getting people actually reaching out on a regular basis, asking about classes or wanting to sign up for your courses or anything like that. It does take time. Referrals are quicker, but they will rely on you having an existing network of current students or existing network of contacts of some kind who can help recommend you. So do both is my recommendation. Start posting on an app like Xiaohongshu, start building up your audience, because as your business expands, you'll find that having some traction already going on social media will really help you in terms of growing things as well. Lots of people saying thank you in the chat. Thank you, guys. Kay has asked, how does UnionPay work on Stripe? You have to actually activate it, but it's like instant activation. It's not complicated. There's not like a whole extra application thing. So once you've set up Stripe, you go into your payment methods. There's Union Pay. You just search it in the list of payment methods. You click activate. It's immediate active, and then people can pay. It's just another card type. Like we have Visa cards and MasterCard. It's just another type of card, and they just put in their card number and make the payment the same as we would make payments with a card online. It's quite straightforward. So I'll put the comments about ClassIn. Yeah, ClassIn is another popular online teaching platform, very popular with Chinese kind of markets. Personally, I really don't like ClassIn, so maybe I'm not the best person to talk about it. I just find it so clunky, but it's good for group classes, and it's used by a lot of Chinese universities. When I was taking classes at the Chinese university online, they switched to ClassIn. They were previously using Zoom, which was great, and then they switched to ClassIn, which was really clunky and awful, and yeah, it was a pain. But anyway, some people love ClassIn, so don't listen to me bad mouthing it. I'm sure it's wonderful. It's basically a whiteboard-based platform. ClassIn is. ClassIn's great if you've got PDF kind of based resources. You like to do a lot of whiteboard-based work, and it also has a lot of group teaching features for teaching large classes. Okay, right. I think I scrolled very quickly through the chat, so I might miss some things, but I think that's all of the questions. How are we doing, guys? Was this helpful? Any other burning questions or anything you would like to ask from what we covered today? I wonder what's happened to James. We've lost him. I think we just lost James. Oops, never mind. Oh, someone's asked a question. Cindy said, what was your experience with Big Blue Button on Moodle? I have never experienced using Big Blue Button on Moodle, so no idea. Sorry, I can't really answer that. Big Blue Button is another it's a with video conferencing kind of platform. It has a very basic whiteboard from what I remember, and you can talk on video. And I think one of the reasons Big Blue Button is quite popular is it does have a self-hosted option if you're running a website and want to. But I wouldn't recommend that for individual teachers. But it does have a lot of ability to integrate it within your own systems and things, including with Moodle, for example. I don't have much experience with it. I've heard it works. It's popular. That's all I can say with Big Blue Button. Sorry. Okay, let's look at the chat. Also, been saying thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm glad this was helpful. Fantastic. I'm going to share one last time the links to the free things I talked about. I unfortunately didn't save James's links, so hopefully you guys can scroll up and find James's links. Let's see if I can find them. I feel a bit bad for cutting out most of his time in today's talk. And then here we go. Let me copy it. Book a free discovery call with James. That was his link. I think that's the main thing he shared. Okay. So the links are in the chat if you want to check those things out. Hope to see you guys in future webinars. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us again today. Hope to see you in future webinars, see you in the Facebook group. I hope you guys find all those free resources we found helpful. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me or James on various social media platforms. We're kind of everywhere. I'm probably most active on Facebook. Don't private message me because it'll probably get buried in the messaging box. I get about 50 messages a week and I just ignore most of them, sorry. If you're not friends with me on Facebook, it ends up in the message like request spam box. I never see it. So if you've got a question, you can reach out to me by email. Katie@abridgeacademy.com. It's on the Abridge Academy website. You can find it. If you join the free course and stuff, you'll get my email address. Or if you join the Facebook group, just post in the Facebook group itself, and then I'll usually reply with stuff. It's a great place to ask questions and connect. James sent that link to have a free call with him, and I think he's also going to share his email address and useful stuff via email with you guys afterwards. Okay, I'm going to wrap things up here. So thank you so much again, everyone, for joining us. Hoping this recording is all working because James left the meeting, but we'll send you guys the recording and see you guys again soon. Bye.